Welcome to Ink to Gold, a Pages of Possibilities podcast. Today, we are opening the notebook on a subject that I have a very complicated relationship with. It is simultaneously the source of my greatest organizational triumphs and, quite frankly, a tremendous amount of guilt. We are talking about the journal.
It's a tool that seems so harmless, doesn't it? Just paper and pen.
Yeah.
But you're right, the psychological weight we attach to it can be massive.
It's that fresh start effect, isn't it? You walk into a stationery store, you smell the paper, you buy that crisp leather-bound book, and you convince yourself, this is it. This is where I organize my empire. It feels like you've already accomplished something just by buying the book.
Oh, it's dopamine on credit.
Yeah.
You're borrowing the feeling of productivity from a future that, hasn't happened yet.
And the debt collector shows up about 2 weeks later.
If that.
Yeah, if that. Because fast forward 14 days and that beautiful notebook, it isn't a strategic empire. It's what I call a graveyard of good intentions. It's just a mess. I'll open mine up and it's got a grocery list on one line, a doodle of a cat in the margin, and then right next to buy milk is restructure the entire business model.
And that chaotic mix, that lack of hierarchy, is exactly why most people just abandon the practice.
Yeah.
We're actually looking at an article today that addresses this head on. It's titled Journaling for Productivity, Mastering the 3-2-1 Framework by an author named Steve.
And Steve really seems to get the specific anxiety of the ambitious but scattered brain. He frames the problem not as a lack of discipline,
Right.
but as a lack of hierarchy.
Which is such a crucial distinction. The mission here for this deep dive is to see if we can stop treating the journal as just a parking lot where we dump every random thought and transform it into what Steve calls a strategic operating system.
A strategic operating system. That sounds intense, but I think I need that because right now my journal is just a confidant for my stress.
Well, Steve actually identifies that as the very first trap. He calls it the Overflow Trap.
Yeah.
In the beginning of any project or a business, the journal is a confidant. It feels safe. You capture those midnight ideas. You sketch out dreams.
Right.
And it feels productive because the volume of tasks is still, manageable.
It's the honeymoon phase of a project. Everything is exciting and nothing feels truly urgent yet.
But as you grow, responsibilities multiply. And if you keep using that journal the same way, as a catch-all for everything, it becomes a clutter monster, which leads to this visual problem Steve identifies as the blurred list.
This concept really stuck with me. I'm actually looking at my notebook right now and I see it. It's the visual equalization of tasks.
Okay, so tell me, what do you see on your page?
Okay, so literally I have call the plumber written on the line right above draft Q3 marketing strategy. Same ink, same size handwriting, taking the same amount of space on the page.
So to your eye, they look equal.
Yeah.
But the cognitive load required to process them is, it's worlds apart.
One is a 3-minute phone call. The other is 4 hours of deep, creative agony.
But because they're sitting right next to each other, your brain just sees task A and task B.
And this creates friction.
A ton of it. Psychologists talk about cognitive load and decision fatigue. Here's what's happening under the hood. Every time you glance at that list of, say, 20 mixed items, your brain has to perform a mini-sort.
A mini-sort.
It has to reevaluate the entire list. Is the plumber more important than the marketing? What about that email I need to send?
And I'm doing that little sort 20, 30 times a day.
Every single time you look at the page, you are burning through your limited daily supply of executive function just trying to figure out what to do instead of actually doing it.
This explains so much. It explains why by 11:30 a.m. I'm exhausted and I haven't even touched the marketing strategy.
And it explains why you probably called the plumber.
I absolutely called the plumber.
Of course. The brain creates a defense mechanism. When it's overwhelmed by that constant mini-sort, it defaults to the path of least resistance. It hunts for a quick dopamine hit.
And crossing off call plumber feels like a win.
It's a win. It's binary. You did it or you didn't. Draft marketing strategy is ambiguous and, frankly, kind of scary. So you do the easy stuff, you feel busy.
But the needle-moving work gets pushed to tomorrow.
And tomorrow is the most dangerous word in the English language.
Okay, so we have the villain, the overflow trap. The solution Steve proposes is this 3-2-1 system.
It's a prioritization heuristic, basically a filter you apply before the ink even hits the paper.
Okay, let's break this down, because on the surface, 3-2-1 sounds simple, but I have a feeling the execution is where people like me trip up. The 3 stands for deep work objectives.
These are your big rocks, the non-negotiables.
Okay, so play devil's advocate with me here. What if I have 10 urgent things? I feel like limiting it to 3 it's a luxury for people who aren't actually busy.
That is the most common pushback. Everything is on fire, I can't just pick 3.
Right.
But Skirv argues that if everything is a priority, then nothing is. The 3 forces a painful trade-off. You have to admit, you physically cannot do 10 deep work tasks in a single day.
You might do 10 shallow tasks, sure.
Exactly. But deep work, no. It's a reality check.
So what's the test?
The litmus test he uses is, if I only completed these 3 things today, would I consider the day a success?
That's a high bar. That means clear inbox can never be in the 3.
Never. The 3 are for asset creation, things that compound over time, like content strategy, product development, deep financial analysis.
Okay, so we've identified the 3 things that actually move the business forward. Now we get to the 2, the routine maintenance tasks.
For keeping the lights on work.
And again, I have to challenge the number. Only 2. My admin list is endless. I've got emails, Slack messages, invoices.
Yeah.
Capping this at 2 seems like I'm just ignoring my job.
And this is where the nuance comes in. It's not that you only do 2 administrative actions.
Yeah.
It's that you only schedule 2 blocks or major admin objectives. Think of maintenance work like a gas in a container. It will expand to fill whatever space you give it.
So if I give it 8 hours, it will take 8 hours.
Steve is saying you have to constrain it. By explicitly writing down only 2 maintenance slots, like clear inbox and pay vendor, you are building a fence. You are protecting your best energy for the 3.
Because if you don't cap the 2...
They will eat the 3 for breakfast.
Okay, that makes sense. It's about containing it, not ignoring it. Now the final number, the 1. This is the professional growth or reflection task.
This is the possibility element, the actions for your future self.
This is the one I skip every single time. I look at it and I think, I don't have time to read a book or learn new software. I have real work to do. I just feel guilty spending time on myself when the to-do list is full.
That guilt is the enemy of longevity. If you are only working in the business doing the 3 and the 2, you are operating a machine, but you aren't upgrading it. The 1 is the upgrade.
Can you give us some concrete examples of what a 1 looks like? It doesn't have to be a massive course, right?
Not at all. It could be reading just 10 pages of a biography. It could be watching a 20-minute tutorial on a new AI tool. It could even be 10 minutes of reflection, just thinking about a recent failure to extract a lesson.
So it's a small investment to prevent stagnation.
Steve makes a point that if you skip the 1 consistently, you become efficient, sure, but you eventually become obsolete.
Ouch. Efficient but obsolete.
Yeah.
That's a motivator.
Okay, so we have the framework. 3 big rocks, 2 admin blocks, 1 growth task. But if I just write these as a list, I'm still kind of back to the visual problem, aren't I? A list is just a list. That's where the second part of Steve's system comes in. He addresses the scannability of the page, he uses a system called rapid logging, which it borrows heavily from bullet journaling, but he adapts it for this hierarchy.
Okay, so this helps us avoid writing those long paragraphs like, today I really need to focus on.
Which nobody ever rereads.
Exactly. So let's visualize the page for everyone listening. We aren't just using dots. We are using specific symbols to guide the eye.
Right. The goal is that when you look at the page, you don't read the text, you read the priority. For the 3 deep work tasks, Steve uses an asterisk.
So visually, the asterisk is spiky. It draws your eye.
It screams, look at me. Then, for the 2 maintenance tasks, he uses a standard bullet point.
It's smaller, it's round, it's visually subordinate to that asterisk.
That visual hierarchy matters so much, it tells your brain, this is secondary. Then, for the 1 growth task, he uses an exclamation point.
Which suggests excitement or opportunity.
Exactly, an idea or a possibility.
And he has a couple of others for just like housekeeping, right?
A simple dash for notes, things you want to remember but aren't tasks, and an arrow for migration, for tasks moved from yesterday.
Let's talk about that arrow, the migration, because this is where I fall apart. In standard bullet journaling, there's this 3 migration rule. If you move a task 3 times...
You delete it.
Right. It's clearly not important. But Steve admits he's a hoarder, and I really relate to this. He says he can't delete tasks because his brain screams, but this might be valuable someday.
This is a very real psychological conflict. It's the fear of missing out on a good idea versus the need for a clean, workable list. Steve's solution is the someday maybe hack.
How is that different from just ignoring the task?
It's about where the task lives. If you have a task like, say, organize 2024 digital files, and you keep migrating it day after day.
It just becomes background noise.
It becomes a micro-stressor. You see it, you feel a pang of guilt, and then you ignore it. Steve suggests moving it out of the daily log entirely.
Into a separate notebook.
Or a separate section. And the benefit is immediate. It clears your daily view. You lower the noise for today without triggering the anxiety of losing the idea.
So it's like a safety deposit box for ideas instead of carrying them around in your pocket all day.
That's a great analogy. It honors the psychological need to keep the possibility alive while keeping your execution window clean.
Okay, so we've got our symbols. We're working through our asterisks, but let's talk about the drift. It's 2:00 p.m. I've finished one big task. I feel good. So I pick up my phone just to check Instagram for a second.
And suddenly it's 2:45 p.m.
The transition zone, it's deadly. Steve has a tactic for this he calls the midday audit.
This is so crucial because even the best morning plans degrade upon contact with reality. The audit isn't a long review. It's just a 30-second pulse check.
What are we actually checking for?
First, the asterisks. Have you completed a deep work objective? If not, the next hour is held hostage. You cannot do anything else until an asterisk is crossed off.
That's strict.
It has to be. Second, you guard the maintenance. Have you let the two expand? Are you answering just one more email as a way to avoid the hard work?
And what if the page is just a complete mess? I mean, sometimes by 2:00 p.m., my journal looks like a battlefield. Scribbles, phone numbers, coffee stains.
Steve suggests a reset, and I love this tactic. If the page is chaotic, take 60 seconds, turn to a fresh page, or just draw a line. Rewrite only the remaining 3, 2, 1 items.
It's like declaring bankruptcy on the morning's mess and just starting fresh.
It completely recenters your focus. It strips away all the noise and just says, okay, forget the morning. Here is what is left.
I can see that saving an entire afternoon. Okay, I am sold on this system, but implementation is where I usually fail. I'll do this for 2 days, and then I just stop. How do we make it stick?
Steve gives a checklist. And the most critical part is the timing.
He talks about the evening prep.
This is non-negotiable in his framework. You have to write tomorrow's 3, 2, 1 list tonight.
But why? I'm tired at night. I'd rather do it in the morning with my coffee when I'm fresh.
If you do it in the morning, you're burning your peak creative energy on planning. You want to use that precious energy for execution. But there's a deeper psychological reason.
The subconscious.
Exactly. When you write the list at night, you close the open loops in your brain. You're telling your mind, we have a plan, you don't need to spin on this all night. It actually helps you sleep better.
And while I'm sleeping,
your subconscious is processing those problems. You are effectively giving your brain its marching orders for the night shift. So you wake up and there's no friction. You don't ask, what should I do? You just look at the first asterisk and you go.
You wake up as the executor because the boss, who was you from last night, already laid out the work orders.
It separates the planner mindset from the doer mindset. And mixing those two is why we get so stuck.
That distinction, planner versus doer, that feels like the key to this whole thing. It transforms the journal from a reactive place where I just dump my anxiety
into a proactive command center.
Right.
And that connects to the bigger picture Steve touches on at the end of the article. This isn't just about productivity in the sense of, doing more things.
Right, because nobody needs more things to do.
It's about creating white space.
Yeah.
When you trust your system, when you know your asterisks are the right things, and your maintenance is contained, the mental noise just quiets down.
And in that quiet, that's where the one comes in. That's where the real innovation happens.
That is where the next page possibility lives. You stop being the assistant running errands for your business, and you finally become the architect designing it.
From assistant to architect, that is the shift we are looking for. So here's our challenge to you, the listener. It's easy to listen to this and nod along, but the magic is in the ink.
If you stopped using your journal as a storage unit and started treating it as a command center, what is the one big rock, that one asterisk item that you have been avoiding?
Identify it, mark it with an asterisk, and tackle it first thing tomorrow.
Thank you for diving deep with us today. Please subscribe to be notified when new episodes drop. Visit pagesofpossibilities.com for more inspiration. The link to the article is in the description below.
Go fill those pages with gold.
See you next time.